stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Before we get started, the Collins memo update or review was supposed to be done by Mike Currie, but he's out of town, so unless there's an objection, we'll just, at our next regular meeting, we'll carry that one. Several requests from Wil Spring, the advisory committee, whether we can request the DOR to do a financial review of the town. The last one that was done was in 2009. We'll put that. The bond lead from the treasurer, I haven't heard anything back anyway. The draft roles and responsibilities and the draft operating procedures, unless there's any, we postpone those till the next regular meeting.
Yep.
I didn't get anything in email, and I tried to get a hold of Will, but so the first thing is the minutes from the last meeting of September 6th. I hope everybody got them electronically. And when anybody wants to make a motion to accept.
Oh, I can't, I wasn't here. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
A motion made to accept and seconded. I have one thing. I wasn't at the meeting, but under advisory roles and responsibilities, it says for a motion for Will to proceed with a draft of roles and responsibilities. And then under operating procedures, it says, it repeats it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it should say a draft of operating procedures rather than a draft of roles and responsibilities.
Actually, we talked about both.
Okay.
Yeah. And Will was sort of taking it upon himself to kind of put together a template for that. That one is ready.
Okay.
He suggested that, and we all agreed that we would go over that at that point in time.
Okay.
So it's a ways off, but if you want the wording changed, I can certainly do that.
But I mean, there's a motion for him to do the draft of roles and responsibilities by Amy, and then seconded by Will. And then there's a motion for
Yep.
Will, I mean, it states it twice. I don't know if it was supposed to be
Oh, I see what you're saying.
two different
Oh, I
motions.
see.
Yes, it is.
I figured it was just either copy paste or just,
Yep.
So, it should say, instead of draft
Yep,
of the
operating
rules.
procedures, yes. And
that's the only thing I noticed.
Okay. I have made that change. I will immediately send that to everybody.
The You all set?
Mhm.
If everybody's all set, on the motion to accept the minutes, Tony?
Staying. I wasn't here.
That's all right. Lee?
Yes.
Yes.
Deb? And I will abstain. So this
That makes it a
motion
legal vote, right?
passed. Oh, All right, the next thing on the old business is the bylaw subcommittee update. I believe I sent the email to everybody. Because at the meeting, Selectman Forte mentioned a subcommittee, I contacted the Attorney General's office, and they suggested that it be posted as a meeting. So I emailed the selectmen about that. They put it on their agenda that was held on September 12th. They voted on their two members, Selectman Caplis and Forte. They notified Carol Harris, and she actually put it on my town government so we can post meetings. I notified her of our two members, and I haven't heard anything from the two select board members. So that's kind of in a limbo, and I read last week's update, and I didn't go to the selectmen's retreat, but there's a meeting on October 4th about it. I think the advisory bylaw change or proposed, I think they're taking it off, and it'll probably happen, if anything happens, in the spring. So that is where that is at. If anybody's got anything on that. I believe I forwarded the email to everyone about the October 1 meeting here in this building to discuss the warrant for the special town meeting. I believe we're gonna get a draft copy of it from the town administrator on the 27th. The selectmen, according to this email, I believe I forwarded both emails to everyone.
Mhm.
We will get a draft on the 27th, and we should get a signed copy on October 2nd. We'll probably get an electronic copy, and there'll be paper copies here in our mailbox. And our next scheduled meeting is for the 4th of October, which is a Thursday. So, did anyone go to the retreat, the selectmen's retreat at the fire station on Wednesday? I don't know if anybody went or not. So they talked about that, but that's where we stand as far as that. And like I said, last week's update from the weekly report from the town administrator there were a couple articles they were gonna scrap. 'Cause I think the main thing is on this stretch energy, addition to the building code, an animal control thing, and something about Stony Brook,
Yep.
the bridge stuff. The next thing on the agenda was the Collins memo by Mike Currie. He's out of town, so no objections, we can put that off till. Same thing with the draft for the advisory roles and responsibilities and the operating procedures, which Will was gonna bring in and work on, since he is absent. Unless there's objection, I'll put that off until our next regular meeting. I put the fourth quarter financials, because I watched the meeting, I read the minutes, there was some questions on the ambulance revenue versus expenditure, and the CPA taxes of the 17 shortfall. I don't know if that was an individual, or if that was you two that were here.
Yeah, so that was brought up just as topics that we might want to take a look at when we reconvened next time, but with the lack of several people here, we might need to push that to the next one.
We can.
Yep.
Okay, without objections, the fourth quarter for our next regular meeting.
Yep.
Okay, the next is the codification. Will had a question on that. I had requested, I sent an email to Holly in the selectman's office requesting a copy of the codification book. And I didn't even make a formal public records request, I just asked if I could get it electronically along with the DVD. I really didn't expect to get it. To my surprise, I was told I could have it, and I was given an estimate of $20 and some cents. I got it this week, it was $19.03. It's, I believe I forwarded the email, but it's 368 pages.
Yeah, you do.
And what they did, I'll just give I haven't had a chance to really read it, I just got it the other day, and I haven't watched the DVD. But within this, it is interesting, looking at the current bylaws, Article 3, Section 4, and it talks about the, it just briefly summarizes the town administrator in conjunction with the selectmen responsible for preparing the annual budget. Does this authority conflict with the advisory committee's duties as stated in Section 4? Shall be the duty of the advisory committee and et cetera, the current reading of the bylaw, and the box is make no changes, is the recommendation from the company that put this together. And they redid it, they've rearranged them. There's a section, it's the manuscript, and they have kind of put everything in different order. Let's see, and they have left We are now under Article 1, the advisory committee, and they have basically left that article and all the sections alone. And I'm not sure, maybe it's in conjunction with the fact that the company that did this recommended no changes. Maybe in part it's due to the subcommittee, but maybe there needs clarification as to who will present, because we really don't, there's a mass general law, but we have bylaws that state this and that. Maybe there's needs a clearer definition of who is exactly gonna do what, but I think that's more of a work in progress. When I look at the DVD, if the DVD is in fact this book on DVD, then I'll see about getting it copied, and, because that's a lot of paper. And I'm not sure, lug this around for,
I would rather electronically anyway.
I don't know why it's not in electronic form to begin with. A
Sure it
company
is.
that did this, for $10,000, it should be electronic so everybody can easily read it and, no changes, and print out the part that, instead of having to go through this in a binder and
Right.
just, I don't know. But I was glad I got it, and I was a little surprised when I read it that, maybe it wasn't a big conflict. At least that company didn't think it was. So, and as I said, I requested that kind of nonchalantly as a resident, and it went from $28 to $19, so I was satisfied. Now, the next, skipping down, Will wanted to know if we could inquire about doing a DOR financial review of the town, or whether that has to go, it's really up to the DOR and probably the selectmen. One was done in 2009. It wasn't acted upon until, it wasn't accepted until 2012. Some parts have been done and some things haven't, so I don't know where the inquiry would go with that. Will also wanted to see about getting the bond lead scheduled from the treasurer. The audit are in the building and this and that. So I'm not exactly sure if he just wanted to request it again, or do it after the special town meeting. We might have a shot, because there's a lot of stuff going on. They're getting the tax recap sheet ready. I don't know if everybody gets DLS alerts, but apparently they changed the way the Schedule A is reported. It's all the same for all cities and towns, no more. And the assessors, majority of the Board of Assessors actually have to sign the tax recap sheet now. They can do it electronically, but versus the deputy assessor, so they are doing some things a little different. The next thing is the month of July, and I know we've gotten August, but I didn't see anything in the minutes about if anything for July popped up, or if the discussion mainly went around the end of the year, the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was more, we didn't really get into the July report. Yeah.
So I don't know if people had looked at the July one. I know the August one came like a couple of weeks right after it.
Mhm.
I know, so if there's questions on the end of the year, I don't know if they wanna to compare what was left over in shortages versus what was allocated for this fiscal year, the difference. There's no real, I mean, it's like 20% spent out of treasurer supplies, but some things they're done, like this Monty Tech Regional Assessment, they've paid a fourth of that already, so I mean, it looks like it's about 25% gone in the first month, but,
Probably a quarterly payment.
police and dispatch, employee support, 40% gone already. Some of that, a lot of that stuff is stuff they pay up front and, but, so like I said, I didn't know if anybody if you were still looking at the end of the year, if you had questions on the July or, even the August one that quickly followed it. If there's anything that jumps out that, or people had time to really look it over yet.
If they could present it with a spend plan, they don't do it, but at the beginning of the year, if there was a spend plan, then you have something to compare it to, and you don't have the details of what certain things are spent on. Personnel, but, I'm a big advocate of having a monthly spend plan.
Well, it's like I said, it's got dispatch listed 40%, but it doesn't, it's a generalized category, and,
Yep.
and like you say, if you had, hey, this is what we're gonna spend, on the first quarter on A, B, C, D, and this is what was allocated, and then expend, so you can,
Yeah, even if they
really
did it
see
quarterly,
where-
monthly would be better, but even quarterly would be, we anticipate these expenses for a quarter.
and then compare to what was actually,
Right.
or monthly,
And in truth, the budget was approved for these different departments, so as long as they stay within their budgets, barring any type of, emergency type thing, then, I don't really wanna question everybody, but just wanna make sure
Sure.
that we understand what's going on with the departments and how the money's
Like,
being spent.
If you plan on paying the health insurance in one lump sum and saving X amount of dollars, well, and
It'd
this
be
is what
nice
we
to
plan
know.
on doing it, so when you look at it and see, wow, it's all gone already, or it's half gone already, what?
Right.
But if you have something in front of you that gives you a heads up, we plan on spending,
Maybe it's, just little notes of something that's out of the ordinary.
which we have gotten once in a while, but, not on a regular basis. So, the next thing is with the special town meeting coming, trying to plan ahead for advertising for our pre-town meeting. And looking at the calendar, our next regular meeting is supposed to be on October 4th. And we are supposed to get a signed warrant on the 2nd. So we could have a pre-town meeting on the 4th. Monday, the 8th is also open.
That's a holiday. Columbus Day.
Every day's a holiday.
Hmm.
So, we have the 27th, which would be meeting next Thursday. Or I can just, I have to advertise it, and we'd be plenty ahead of the time, to have the pre-town meeting on the 4th. I mean, we can plan on having it on the 4th. The 11th, we're stuck on days.
So, and obviously, the 18th, we won't meet because of the special town meeting. If we get the draft warrant on the 27th, the pre-town meeting on the 4th probably would be okay. I don't know if we don't get it, if we don't see anything until a couple days before, it's probably not that big of a warrant, but
Yeah.
I want to make
think
sure we
it's,
have enough time to digest the information.
Just so everyone knows, I can call in on the 4th, but I will not be here. I'll actually be on a train from Toronto to Ottawa, so I think I can call in, assuming that
If I was on a train in Canada, I'd be in the beer car, I wouldn't be calling in on the meeting. That's just me,
I'll be in business class, but I can at least be listening on the phone, taking notes, so, because obviously that's an important topic.
That's what I would be doing if I was in a train in Canada. I would just,
I've never taken a
Wait.
train in Canada. We'll see how it goes.
I'm traveling the following week. I can't promise I'll call
yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm not available.
we can just stand by for October the
Yeah.
4th.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not
Because like I said, they said we're
available.
supposed to get it by the 2nd, an approved one, and we'll have a draft on the 27th. So if unless something sticks out. There is also the 3rd is a Wednesday, which is, right now, is open. But you'll probably be in Canada on the 3rd as well.
I'm flying up that day. I would be in a hotel room,
But, no, that's,
but, yeah,
I mean, if
I was
but
in a
again,
one, half
don't,
dozen another.
just don't worry about me.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out, so. It's all
so,
good.
well, if I was in a hotel in Canada, I would be at the bar. There's a theme here with me.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
Okay, so our next meeting will tentatively probably be October 4th,
Yep.
regular time here. And like I said, if we have our pre-town on the 4th, that'll be plenty of time to do our recommendations. And our recommendations could be in the Word format, the same as the annual town meeting. I can email the outline for, if everybody wants a refresher about it. The town administrator asked, in one of those emails that I sent to everybody, if we wanna put those in the voter guide. I didn't think he was gonna do a voter guide for special, but
yeah,
apparently.
I would like to have it all in one document.
I know it does make it easier, it's just,
Just so, I know, because like at the last town meeting, looking at the motion, making sure I cross-reference the right motion, looking at the right thing, if you have it right underneath the actual warrant article rather, not the motion, but, I think it's a good thing, puts everything all in one place, and it saves paper.
I didn't mind killing a tree.
Tree's already dead if it's paper.
Okay. Include in the voter guide. All right. I'll double check with Carter on that, on their schedule, to ensure that, they plan, the draft on the 27th is still gonna go electronically, I hope, and both electronically and probably signed hard copy by the 2nd, so we can do our pre-town on the 4th, which would give a few days to type that in, and then get them today, because they want it like on the 10th, so they can go get it all printed up
Okay.
for the 18th. So I will email that out. that information out to everybody that wasn't here. And that is the agenda. I just have one thing. Did they have the Baldwinville reuse meeting tonight?
We did.
Um,
We're still moving forward. We're looking at releasing requests for information by Halloween. So at our next meeting, which is probably gonna be the 25th, because normally it'd be the 18th, but with the special town meeting, we're moving it. Hope to have a good draft of an RFI to go out. Seems to be some interest, and that's really gonna, the RFI is really what's gonna gauge the interest. Could be from anywhere. We've looked at the zoning. The zoning is pretty wide open. So we've looked at things like veteran housing, senior housing, office building, just haven't excluded anything.
Right. That would be a unique thing, veteran housing.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at, you know, obviously anything that we could bring in, put something on the tax rolls. However, if it came down to it where, okay, we can get the building used, so it's not sitting there dormant, because there's always a cost to the town if it's dormant.
Yeah, big insurance costs, they get
You know,
nervous.
so right now, we're still wide open of what we could possibly use. Once we get the request down, you know, Leominster's done a few things with some town buildings and Townsend. So there's some examples of, there's people out there, did have someone go through the building kind of unofficially and thought that it wasn't in bad condition, considering his age. So there's some promising, you know, it's not like someone came in and said, tear it down.
Yeah, it's no, it's like the contractor at Templeton Center School, when they tore it down, the guy that did the demolition said that was a pretty solid building. He said, this is one of like, it was a hard one to come down.
Mm.
It was built well.
Yep.
Uh,
A lot of things back then were.
So, well, that's a good thing. That'd be a unique, and there's probably a lot of, for veterans housing, there would be a lot of, well, one would think there would be, access for funds to do something. for
So
the
we had the
building.
veterans agent there with tonight, and she's gonna check into some, through the VA and see if there's any type of projects and potential funding for something like that.
Yeah, because it's sorely needed. It's
Yeah, it is.
surprising that,
It is.
a lot of vets there could
Right.
use things. And anything would be better than letting it sit empty.
Mhm.
So, well, that's a good thing. That's. And that is the end of the agenda. That went rather quickly.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
No member comments. Motion to adjourn and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to stay? We are adjourned.